Why don't you lay out some of the tangible benefits that you've seen for business people when, say, a Brazilian consulate comes here? I mean, that's a recent one. I don't know if you have any specific examples tailored to that, but
well, I maybe with the names.
Kind of the question. So what?
Yeah.
You know, we have these consulates, and you know, you're doing a good job selling, but what does the business person get?
Exactly. All right. Well, I think the best way to describe that is, let's say you're a Brazilian business. Okay, let's pretend like you're a Brazilian business in whatever industry. Let's just say energy, something related to green energy. You're wanting to, because Brazil is an independent, energy independent nation, they're obviously doing something right, and you want to sell whatever you have in Georgia. Well, let's say there wasn't a Brazilian consulate here. Where would you go as a first step to get your product in the market? Or better yet, even get in front of the right people to get your product in the market. You're going to spend hours researching. You're going to spend valuable time of your employees making calls and connections. But if you have a consulate, if you have a commercial unit in your consulate, which Brazil does, they're interested in the Southeast, they go on the website and say, oh, Brazil has a consulate here. Let's go on the website. Look, they have a commercial section. Click here for more information. Bam. They do. They send their information. The consulate has already well-established relationships with people in state government and in chambers and in communities around the state. So that company calls up and says, hey, can you help us out with this project? They say, no problem. So they'll call my colleague Kathy Falls in international trade, or they'll call, or excuse me, if it's a Georgia business, they'll call Kathy Falls, or they'll call someone here, a project manager, and say, hey, I've got this Brazilian company that wants to do this, and they want to be in rural South Georgia. So then they'll call the chambers, and then they'll call the local economic development authorities. And so it begins to spiral out like a network, a web. They would have to do all that on their own if they didn't have governmental support here. Let's add to that. Let's say a business does locate here. Well, think about all of the issues then that getting their executives here would create. Visa issues, passport, getting their children in schools, finding the right places to live. Having those connections now creates a much easier environment for them to get that done. One more element. We find that with the career consulates that we have here, we see much more delegation traffic come in. Why? Because they have a governmental entity, a commerce minister, or a commerce ministry person here, a career commercial service officer here, to help facilitate that. It could be as wide-ranging as a sod grass for golf group coming in, all the way to the thousands and thousands of people that are coming in for bio in 2 months that are working through their consulates, and we already know that most consulates are busy with laundry lists of people that are coming in. So that's all facilitated because they're here. And sometimes it's hard to trace it back and say, okay, Trevor, I can give you the following 4 examples that but for a consulate being here, they wouldn't be here. But at the same time, I can tell you that consulates have been invaluable when they're called upon to help, and trade offices have been invaluable when they're called upon to help. And they've been able to smooth the process and speed the process along.